What's going on, everybody? It's Saul Sunforge here for Dungeons and Taverns. We're back here with session 2 of our sci-fi steampunk variety map. I know right now it's really colorful, but we're going to go ahead and darken the colors here. Maybe not this session, but coming up, of course, we will. And we're going to add a planchet and everything. So, just before I started recording, I decided to reshape the content a little bit. I took off a little bit of the excess at the bottoms, and I may re-add it later. I just wanted to see what it would look like. The landmass isn't finalized by any means right now, so I do that throughout the process until I'm satisfied with the way it looks. Today's music is non-copyright magical harp music, copyright free, from Relieving Stress channel. So that's what we'll be listening to, some relaxing harp music in the background. Just got home from work, so let's see. We'll say I'll edit it down to 15 minutes or so, and then that should be good. All right, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all of you. Like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. All right, here we go. Thanks for watching. All right, so I wasn't sure if I was really happy with these wings here at the bottom. I kind of got rid of them. I might re-add them, but like I felt like this right here seems like more of a natural shape, and that's gonna be thousands of miles. Really from here to here, you could have like 500 miles, 1,000, 500, 2,000, probably about 2,250 miles or so, 2,300 miles across. That's about what this is gonna be, the scale. So really from the East Coast to the West Coast really is about 2,500 miles, I believe. All right, so here we made the little connection for you folks who are going to add this to your existing map. This is so you connected a different continent if you wish to. Obviously, if you don't wish to, just add this as a token to your existing map, and then just add water up above it. So maybe position this like sort of in the middle or the lower portion of your map. And then you can put water up above it, and it's of no consequence at that point. All right, so we're going to start here on the right side. This is going to be the epicenter of the event that happens, that triggers off whatever storyline, arc, or campaign that you wish from the ideas that I've given you, or you could come up with your own, obviously. But this is going to be the forested area, and there's going to be like some sort of science or discovery, some kind of learning center, maybe alchemists or something that live in the grove, something like that. Okay, depending on what type of style TTRPG you're playing, you'll want to obviously adjust it. All right, so we're going to make this section up here, the connecting area, we're going to make it like a bowl. The way we're going to do that is we're going to frame the coastline here. We're going to frame it in mountains, curving inward, so that this bowl basically leads them into the forest here. But you could go ahead and continue outward over here. And this is where a lot of the land, like there'll be territories and things like that, settlements, before you hit the swamp. You could put a few in the swamp as well, if you want to. And depending on if your campaign is resource acquisition heavy, the swamp would be a great place for your fertilizers, for your nutrients, even for warfare chemicals. Industrial type things like your oil from all the vegetation, like the slow decay and things like that, and there'll be pools of oil you can have in the swamp. I'll make them tar pits, but you can make them oil pits if you wish. And you can make it a highly contested area if you wish to. Have these sections of the continent essentially pressing down on the swamp for rights. You can have a few big player cities and things like that, and we'll make some of those things for you. I try not to label too much because I want you to be able to use your creativity as well, if you so choose to. And then from now on, since I'm most familiar with fantasy, I'm gonna label all my framing, my storylines, and things like that in a fantasy event, but you can feel free to take any of those and change them to your genre. Just think of what I'm saying in terms of the genre that you play, and you'll be able to mix and match as you want. Unless I have some cool sci-fi or steampunk direct aesthetics to add, maybe, then I'll directly address that. But I'll try to speak in terms that make sense for the most people. All right, so we put down the mountains tangibly. We might reshape them a little bit here or there, but that's generally where they're going to go. You know, I might change the curvature a little bit, or, you know, the width of the mountains, things like that. But these are just kind of a framing work. These aren't supposed to be really the main mountains, I don't believe. I think the main mountains are going to be in the meat of the map here, down in the area that I labeled the swamp. And this entire area, of course, is not going to be swamp. That's just how big the word is. We are going to change this slightly. We're going to move the mountains down, and instead we're going to make this like a higher elevation, sort of like a cliff. And then it leads up into the mountains. So this right here starts out down, and the path, eventually the elevation goes up. So that forested area is going to be up higher than all the other elevation on the map. This will be the highest elevation right here, this area. And so that means that when they're all traveling in, they're going to be walking, you know, it's going to be like an arduous path. And then you can put tolls and things like that in there, and, you know, highwaymen or cut purses, brigands, however you want to say them, bandits. And then, since that's a travel path, we can infer that, you know, there's pathways and things like that in there. So we can have trading outposts and things like that in here. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of a lot of this grass here, because it's going to be kind of tore up from all the travel. All right, so I moved the mountains out a bit. I moved the ones here on the right side down and grouped them up a bit. So they're a little bit wider, but they're not as long. And then over here on the other side, I made them a little bit narrower but longer. So there's a little bit of a juxtaposition there. And then what I like to do is I like to create with my mountains a little bit of a slender area of land. If you wish to do something with that, that's blocked off by the mountains. If you wish to have like some type of seafaring quest to go over there, you can have something important over there. That's up to you. If it's a city or a location or an object or even a dungeon. And then the mountains are a great way to block that stuff off, because you're not gating it necessarily. The features of the land are gating it, so it's not you doing it. Because usually you're not going to have low-level characters trying to climb rock faces and, you know, navigate through an entire mountain range. They're just not going to do it. But if they want to, if they try to, let them. All right, so we went ahead and typed in cliffs and got a few of our different cliffs. I put them up on the screen just so I could see. They're not going to obviously stay there. It's just so I can see what I have to work with that I picked out that I liked for this section. And you can see our first one we put here in the middle, and that looks pretty good, like a step. So we might create like a pass through here or something that you'll be able to travel, but it's going to be quite extensively controlled. Think extortion. And then if you want to go off the beaten path, well, then you're going up through the mountains and things. Or you could try to deal with the conflict peacefully or through force. Or does it look better that way? Because the land down here, like I said, is going to be higher elevation. So would that make more sense for it to be that way instead of this way? Because with this way, they're coming off of a higher elevation to a lower elevation and then going back to a higher elevation. Although that could play into why the swamp and things are at a lower elevation. So that could work. Right here is where it would go down in elevation, and then right around here or so is like when it would start going back up. Something like that. So maybe this would be the lowest location. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think, and we'll fix it up before the map's finished. I think these mountains here along the cold snap, I'm going to go ahead and continue them on and maybe end them right here around this bend or something. and then end this up here in a cliff again. All right, there we go. That's the mountains, more or less. We're going to go ahead and do some touch-ups here. We'll see if you can notice what I do. I won't let you know, but it's going to be something to the mountain area. I'll let you know after I finish and give you like 15 seconds to see if you can notice, and then I'll let you know. All right, I made the changes. Are you able to tell? I'll give you a few seconds. They're up in this area right here in these mountains. It might not be a big change, but what I did was all the overlapping green land on the other side of these mountains, I just took it in a bit. I left, you'll notice I left a few pieces sticking out here and there of inconsequential value, but it helps to show more depth when you can see a little bit of green, but not too much green, so this way it actually looks like a natural barrier. Another fun thing I like to do with maps is I like to use my trees to direct the action. And I'll show you what I mean here. Now, since this is the continent map, you don't want your trees to be huge because this is, you know, in real life, a map of a continent isn't going to have any trees. It might have a giant squared area that's green to represent a park or something like that, but it's not going to have trees, right? So with these, you kind of have to play pretend a bit. And you know in your head that these items are bigger or smaller than they are. It's just so you can see them on the map. But what I like to do is I will go ahead and make an area of trees. Say, no, that's just the rough shape. It's going to be different. And you can see here that these are rather thick trees. And you could even put some kind of society in here if you want. I'll leave it like a little lake or something in here. It's actually pretty cool. Alright. Alright. So you can see here with what I like to do with the trees is I like to make routes, right? So they can either take this way or this way. Okay? And then, so you always want to give the players decisions. You don't want to give them too many decisions. Like, I don't want to break this down into like 17 different ways for them to go. But if you give them two, you know, it kind of lets you as the DM know where they're going to go, sort of, right? If they choose to come in through this way, well, then you know to prepare for this area a little bit more. Because unless you're crazy like me, you're not going to have, you know, most everything ready to go. You know, you might have a city or idea or something like that. But, and then if they go this way, then obviously you start getting the main area, you start getting that ready to go. And you can throw things in their way as they go in order to give yourself more time to prepare, in order to prepare this cold snap area. Alright, and then we just hollow out the inside here with some water. I'm using a size 3 brush so I don't do too much. Bless you. There we go. And that's quite a oh, looks like there's little areas I missed. That's, you know, a pretty substantial body of water. I actually want to take those lines out of there. That's ridiculous. I don't like those. I'm going to take them out of the entire map. I only like to use an edging line to accentuate the coastal features. This makes me go cross-eyed, honestly. Alright, so we took away the white and the gray. We outlined the map in black. We took away the ripple effect. And so now you can see the coastline. Clearly there is no ripples out in the water. What I used to do, usually for my maps, because I like to add a lot of detail to my maps, like information that the party could glean from the map. I'll change the color of the water according to how deep it is, but I'm not going to do that here because I don't know what color water you guys want. I'm going to go ahead and upload one with the original color water, and then I'm going to also make one with like black, murky water and things. So it'll change the aesthetic feel of the map just slightly, and I'll give you a few different versions to choose from. All of them free. Pick whatever ones you want. All right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to try to put a body of water up here and see what it looks like inside these mountains here. And you can't even tell because of the color of the water. So we're going to go ahead and change that color a bit and see what it looks like. Alright, so since the water isn't showing up through here as like I want it to, we're going to go ahead and try something. We're going to go ahead and make these mountains to the foreground / background. We're going to flatten them, and then we're going to add the color in and have to shave off a little bit of the side of each of the mountains to make it so that you can see that there's a body of water in there. So let's try it, see how it looks. I'm not committed to anything yet, so we'll see. Since these mountains, the stamp is technically a little bit in the water in some of these places, if you flatten it to the foreground or the background, since you can't flatten the stamp to the foreground and to the background, it gets rid of half of the stamp no matter which way you do it. So what I do is I go ahead and I take the shovel, the mask tool, and I add a little bit more land behind the entire stamp, and then I move it to the foreground or background like I want it to. And then I slowly erode away. I subtract or erase pieces of the coastline in order to give it the outline look still. For the mountains, though, even though it's actually the land that's tracing, it makes it look like it's tracing the mountains, and it accentuates them a bit more. And this is also going to allow me down here in order to add that water like I want to. Alright, so I flattened the mountain to the foreground. All of them but this lead mountain up here, because what it does is it makes the stamp overlap the other stamps, right? And so I want this mountain here to be the lead, and so all the other stamps in here, can be terraformed a bit. And let's go ahead and add in the bowl of water now. So we got to zoom in real close, but we'll be able to hit it up good. And on this map, we're going to keep all the water the same color and things like that. And I'm going to keep the mountains actually the same color too. Because, this isn't a fantasy map, so you don't want all that crazy color aesthetic. I just want it to pop first. This is a very arduous process, but I like to do it because if you do it enough times in enough locations, your map starts to bling. And so we just fill in all this little tiny bit of grass area that's in here, with water, with blue, and then it looks like there's water up in the mountains, right? All right, let's zoom out and see what it looks like. Not bad. And you could do that trick with anything too. Lava, water, pools of goo, sludge, whatever have you. And then since this is the high point of the map, the water is going to come out here, and then it's going to abruptly, maybe not abruptly, but it's going to start to follow the mountains a little bit down and back out the way you came in. So we'll do that probably next video, because we're already sitting pretty extensive here on this video. So I'm going to have to go ahead and edit this and get it out to you. Alright, so it's time for me. I have to actually go run some errands before football. So we made 173 changes on this map. Not bad at all, certainly. Put in some work. It's starting to come together, and it's going to look a lot better as we go, obviously. We still have quite a lot to get to, and I still haven't even really added the islands. Of course, the island isn't going to be this size or even this size. Those are way too big. That might be the very biggest island that we have, but that's like what, 500, 600 miles. So yeah, we're going to have smaller islands. More of them are going to look like that. Alright, so thanks for watching. I appreciate all of you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment if there's things that you want to see on this map. I'll go ahead and give it a consider, see where I can think of where it would work out, and we'll go from there. So thank you so much. Stay tuned for Tavern Talk, bringing Tavern Talk back. We haven't had any questions from viewers recently, so I haven't had a Tavern Talk, but we're going to bring a Tavern Talk back with at least two or three of my other players from my campaign who are also DMs, and then questions that you all submit to us, we answer. So go ahead and get those questions submitted to me in any of the comment sections. All my social medias are out there. Go ahead and ask questions for that. We'll answer those, and we'll try to keep that to about an hour session or so, and then we record those. And if it goes over, then we kind of just try to record it into a second video. All right, so thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Have a great day. Keep smiling.